Hey Sumates, it's good to have you back once again. So on today's tutorial, you're going to be learning how to make a funnel corset. And as it is always my custom, I love to get my paper ready because time waits for no one. And I rule my lines here and label them as you can see, okay? I have my shoulder, chest, bust point, on the bust, waist, and my length. And I proceeded to divide my shoulder measurement by 2 and rule it down from the shoulder line to the chest line so as to form our armhole line, okay? So I'll slope my shoulder by 1 inch. I'll get my neck width of 3 inches and my neck depth of 3 inches as well. And I'll just get my ruler and I'll connect, okay? So I also slope my shoulder. As you can see, I'll measure what I have here, divide into 2, get my midpoint, and I'll connect. I'll measure 0.5 inches, sorry, and connect, okay? So next I'll divide my bust circumference by 4, and I'm going to rule it on the chest line here, and I'll just connect to this point here, and that becomes our front armhole line. So next I'm going to impute my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 here, from the bust point area down to the length of my blouse, and I'm going to connect into a straight line with my ruler this way. So once I was done connecting, the next thing I'm going to do is to start adding our dart, okay? So this is going to be a waist cinch blouse. We're going to snatch the waist, and we're snatching with 4 inches. So for instance, if your waist circumference is 28 and you subtract 4 inches from it, you have 24. 24 divided by 4 gives you 6. So that is what you are going to be imputing. So on the side part, I'm going to impute 0.75 here, and I'll impute 0.5 inches on the center front this way. And I'm going to mark the same thing on the hem as well. And I'll just connect together with my ruler this way and connect this other side as well. So next I'm going to use the curvy part of my ruler to connect from the bust point down to the under bust, okay? So can you see? So this is to get our waist dart, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect to the shoulder line, and I'm going to do that by dividing what I have on my shoulder line here into 2. So I'm just going to measure from here to where my neck starts, and I'm going to mark on the midpoint. Then next I'm going to pick up my straight ruler and connect it this way. So the next thing I'm going to do is that from the chest line, I am going to go up by 0.75, that is half and quarter of an inch, okay? That is what I'm going to measure up here. And on that line now, on the center here, center front, I'll measure half of an inch. Then on the side, I'm going to measure half and quarter. Do you get? So I'll connect here this way and connect this part this way as well. So after I was done connecting, I'm going to take that line straight up to the shoulder line. I'm going to connect in a straight line this way, and I also connect this other side this way as well, okay? Then next on my side, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches, which is the difference between my front half length and my back half length. Do you get? And I proceed to connect to the bust point area. So this is what we have now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to impute my measurement. I'm going to impute my under bust circumference divided by 4. I'm going to mark it. Then I will also replace my darts, okay? Then after that, I am going to mark my waist circumference divided by 4. Remember, the waist circumference is the new waist circumference. That is the new waist measurement after we have subtracted our cinching inches, okay? So I marked my 6 inches, which is the new waist circumference, and replace my dart as well. Then the next, I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I also replace my dart. Then I'm going to proceed to connecting with my ruler, okay? So I'm just going to connect all the lines with my ruler this way. So I was not connecting, and the next thing I'm going to do is to close some of my darts. So the first dart I'm going to close is my side dart. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to slit through my shoulder dart. So note that I'm not going to be making use of my yoke, but if you like to make use of your yoke, please endeavor to replace this dart on your shoulder line. Okay, replace it on this towards the armhole area. Okay, so I'm just going to close this dart area after slitting through the shoulder line. So I'm just going to close it up this way, and I'm going to tape it down in place. Okay, so do you see what we have there? So I'll just trim off this excess here, and this is what we have. So the next I'm going to do is to get the bustier part of our phone corset. Okay, so I'm going to be marking as in I want the phone corset to reach around this midpoint of my armhole. So I'm going to come down from my chest line by 1 inch. Okay, I'm just going to come down from this chest line by 1 inch. Do you see what we have there? And I'll make a visible mark around there. Then on this point, remember I went up by 0.75. I'm going to be connecting these 2 points together with this my curve ruler. Do you see? So I'll place it this way, and I'll just curve down. So we're trying to get the bustier part of our funnel corset. Okay, so this point here, I'm just going to connect it down to my chest line this way. Do you see what I have there? Okay, so I was not connecting, as you can see, and the next thing I'm going to do here is to close my shoulder darts. Okay, then I'm going to slit through my waist dart as well. I'll just slit through here, but I'm not going to cut the paper off completely. Okay, then I'll close the shoulder dart as well. So at this point, if you are making use of your yoke like I made mention earlier, when you close this way, replace exactly this 1.25 that you have here, replace it on the armhole area. Okay, but mine, I'm not making use of the yoke, so I don't need to replace. Okay, so I'm just going to tape it that down right away, and after taping it down, when you look at the lines here, you will see that there's a need for reconnection, and I'm just going to bring my ruler and I'll reconnect. So this reconnection helps to give you an accurate equalizing, a kind of it will become very equal when you are joining. Do you see the way I connected it? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is to get my style line. I want to have a style line here, so I'll just divide what I have here into 2, and I'm going to mark on the midpoint. Do you get? I'll mark on the midpoint here. Then I'm going to pick up my ruler and connect from this midpoint, from the hem up to the chest line area. Do you get? I'll just connect to the chest line area this way. Then on the waist side of the new line I just wrote, I'm going to go in and out by 0.5 inches, and I'm going to connect up to the chest line this way, and on the other side as well, then connect to the length of my blouse this way. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting the other side as well. Do you see? Okay, so this is what we have here. So the next thing we are going to be doing here is to get the remaining part of our funnel corset. Okay, the real funnel corset. Okay, so I'm going to come down from this point by 1/2 inch. Okay, and I'm just going to make a marking there. Okay, remember I already have a point around the midpoint of the armhole here, so I'm just going to pick my ruler and I'm going to be connecting these 2 points together. Okay, so I'm just going to connect it this way, and do you see the shape we have there? It has given us the look of our funnel corset already, so it's not difficult. It's just a matter of knowing how to go about it. So I'll replace the dart I have here. Okay, I'll just replace it accordingly, and I'll connect. Okay, then I also connect down to the length here this way. Okay, so I don't want to have pointed edge here, so I went up by 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to pick my ruler and connect to have this beautiful shape around here. Do you see? And I'm just going to shade all these parts because they are going out. We don't need them, they are going out. So I proceeded to do that. So the next I'm going to connect and cut out. Okay, I'm just going to cut out, and after cutting out I'm going to trace this on another paper. Okay, I'm going to trace it on another paper, and I will label all the lines, side front, center front, and boom, that is what I have already done here. So this here is the initial one we drafted on. Do you get? So I transferred to this one you're seeing here. Okay, and also transfer this dart here. Okay, can you see? So I will set this aside, and we are going to be cutting out the bustier part of our funnel corset. Okay, I will remove this bustier part, which is this one now is the one that sits on the inner, and it starts from the under bust. Okay, it starts from the under bust, though some like to make it complete, start from the hem, but I love leaving it around the under bust. So this is what we have. So I'm going to get another paper for our back. So this paper here is what we are going to be using for our back. So we're going to be drafting the back part of this corset, and it's going to have lacing and waist cinching as well. Okay, so it's not going to have any zipper, it's going to have lacing, that is eyelet and rope. So I proceeded to slope my shoulder by 1 inch, get my neck width of 3 inches and neck depth of 2 inches. Okay, neck depth for the back is 2 inches. Then I'm going to divide what I have here into to get the midpoint and measure my bust circumference divided by 4, mark on it, and I'm going to connect. And after connecting, we are going to have our back armhole. Can you see it here? So I'll get my dart. This dart is totally optional. If you don't want, you can leave it, since there's actually going to be boning on it. I don't think there's any need for this dart if you're adding boning, but if you're not adding boning, please my dear, go ahead and add your dart. So I went on to measure my dart, nipple to nipple divided by 2, mark it, then get mark 0.5 inches on both line, and I'm just going to connect it to the chest line on both sides and also connect it to the hem on both sides. So this is what we have here. As you can see, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, my waist circumference divided by 4. I will mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'm just going to connect. Okay, so after connecting, the next thing we are going to do is to replace our darts. Okay, so before that, I'm going to get my styling line for the back. So I just divided what I have there into 2 and connect into a straight line this way. Can you see? So on this line, I'm going to go in and out by 0.5 inches, and I also connect again. So it's time to replace our dart. So I'm just going to measure what I have there, and I'm going to add them together and replace them. Okay, I'm going to mark them after adding them together. Okay, so I wanted to connect around this waist. Okay, but it was as if that allowance I'm replacing is too much. Okay, it was too much. I don't want it to have too much allowance, so I proceeded to reconnect. Okay, so it is just a kind of getting the right thing, making sure of the right measurement, ensuring that you have the right measurements. Okay, so I proceeded to reconnect, and I'm very okay with what I have here. I don't want to have too much dart replacement or too much allowance. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches here, and I'll measure half an inch here. That is because the upper part of my lacing is going to be 3 inches and the down part is going to be just 1 inch. It's going to be tiny at that down part. Okay, So I'm going to cut this place out and we're going to replace it with eyelet, and that is the reason for this round dots that I am marking here. Okay, though this place is going to we're going to cut it out, it's going out. So I'm just going to grab my side front and I'm going to place it this way. Remember I measured 1.5 inches here, so I'll place it on that 1.5 inches and get similar curve. Remember we are going to be attaching them together, so they need to be equal. And I also mark on this midpoint of the armhole, and I'm just going to connect this way. So this is very important so that you have uniformity when joining. It's very important. Remember you are going to join the side of the front and the side of the back, so you need to have accuracy and uniformity around there. So do you see the way I proceeded to connect? It is going to give the back a very beautiful shape. So you can style it any other way you want. Of course, you know there are different stylings to it. Okay, so I proceeded to measure it and I have accuracy there. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out. Okay, so this is actually where our eyelet is going to stay. Okay, don't mind me, the first one is cancel. We are actually removing it. I just marked it there to help us understand that we are going to have eyelet around there. Okay, but the actual place where our eyelet is going to stay, I proceeded to indicate that. So I'll cut out, and after cutting out I am going to label them. So if you have watched up to this point, you have not subscribed, please go ahead and hit on the subscribe button, like this video and drop a comment. Note that you are very free to ask any question related to this one or on the other ones I have done. Or if you have any style you want me to make for you, please you can also drop the style for me on Instagram. Okay, so I will label it all round. Okay, so that will be all. I'm going to show you all we have after cutting all the parts and labeling them. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate, and I wish to see you on my next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.